Hi, this is Andrew Cook.
And this is Michelle Panek.
Welcome to the Affordable Therapy Showcase.
Hi, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce Joy Redstone. Joy Redstone is a licensed clinical social worker and addictions counselor. Joy received her master's degree in social work from Boston College and completed postdoctorate graduations.
Postgraduate certificates.
Thank you. Thank you. She completed postgraduate certificates in addiction counseling and clinical supervision. She is a writer and artist and contributes regularly to the Daily Camera. She served as the executive director of Bridge House for 7 years, and she is recognized for her excellence in service delivery. Joy also serves as a board president for the Grief Support Network and is co-chair of the Hope Coalition. Joy's background in systems theory inspires her to witness the individual's journey towards laughter, beauty, and integration. Please give a warm welcome for Joy Redstone.
Thank you so much. What I want to talk about today does relate to issues about grieving. I want to describe a little bit about suicide, the prevalence of suicide in our community, a personal experience that I had with that, and how I've now integrated that into my clinical work. And first, let me say that this is just such an endemic problem. 2017 is the most recent year for which we have statistics for Colorado. And in that year, there were 1,175 people who completed a suicide. You may notice that I'm saying completed rather than committed. There's some feeling in that particular community that the language committed refers back to a time when suicide was illegal. But at any rate, that amount of people is a huge amount of people, and it's actually more people than die each year in Colorado for things like homicide, car accidents, breast cancer, flu, accidental ODs, and diabetes. So it's the 7th leading cause of death in Colorado. And it's really up for our community right now. Unfortunately, spring is often what is called suicide season. And there's been a number of completed suicides in the local high schools in the last few weeks at Fairview and also at September High School. Colorado and this whole area is called the suicide belt, and there's some wondering about why that might be and some speculation about why that might be. Some of the thoughts are that we have a culture of rugged individualism. We have a lot of access to firearms, and the data is if there's a firearm in the home, there's a much greater chance of a completed suicide. There's a lack of access to affordable mental health care, which is why we're all here. There's a lot of geographic isolation in the more remote parts of the state. There's a big income disparity, a lot of seasonal workers, and a really, really high cost of living. There's a lack of intergenerational support. Many of us have moved here from other places. There's a partying culture as well. That does play in. And altitude actually decreases serotonin, and serotonin is linked to depression, and it increases dopamine, which is related to risk-taking. So that's all from a really interesting National Geographic article, actually. I want to touch very briefly on my personal experience, which was almost 5 years ago, in May 5 years ago. I married someone who got very physically ill shortly after we got married, and it created a lot of just tremendous physical pain, which was treated with opiates. And both the opiates and the pain and the illness took away many, many things that he loved. Simple things like being able to drive a car, read a book, or get out and see friends. So it was a time of a lot of darkness for him. This was obviously a very big and traumatic event in my life, but it is not an event that I judge. Especially as more distance has gone by, I think about what is it like to be in that kind of physical pain, and kind of who am I to judge that choice? Who am I to say that my value system should have been imposed on his? However, it was a big event, and true to form, as therapists often do, I decided I wanted to try to put this to clinical work. Well, let me just jump back for a second. First, I decided I should put some energy into trying to recover. Oh boy, I need to talk faster. So I went to therapy. I went to Al-Anon quite a bit. I have a huge and supportive community. I do rituals every year on the anniversary, which is May 8th, and I turn to all kinds of creative expression, which was for me was writing and art. And then I decided last summer that I wanted to try to run a support group for people who have experienced this. Why did I do that? I think there's a huge need in the community, and what I experienced is that people did not want to talk about this, or they wanted to tell me it was God's plan. And I didn't want to get arrested for punching people, so like when they said that, so I was like, I'm going to take that energy and put it into something else. It also honors him. It's something I do kind of in his memory, and it also honors my own story. This was a big experience, and it changed my life, and I want to be able to make it of use. But I have to take really good care of myself to do this group, really. And I'm fortunate, I'm really blessed to have a great intern as a co-facilitator, and we have a whole signaling system worked out where I'm like, dude, you better carry the ball for a second because, I'm trying to wipe off the tears or something. But I do turn towards the emotion rather than away. One of the things I've learned about grief is that it's completely nonlinear and it can just hit you at any moment. And for me, I now have discovered that I don't feel any shame about that. I also examine my impulse to speak. I, of course, want to talk all the time, and I've shut myself up and just let the person tell the story. I don't immediately have to tell my story that might match with it very well. And I wait, and then I might just tell them that their story touched me. I take a break. I take lots of breaks, actually, and I took a break, for example, the week of his anniversary. We have a lot of humor. I might be at the heart of a lot of that, I think. And we have a ritual that includes a lot of hugging, a lot of deep bear hugs at the end of this group. I want to just share one last thing, which is from a friend of mine who lost her wife to suicide. And I think it speaks to the impact of this on people. And the saying was, if love could have saved you, you would have lived forever. And I want to leave you with that because, when someone does complete a suicide, the thinking is that there's usually 6 people in their immediate circle for whom it's deeply impactful. That was certainly true in this case. And I have found a strange club that I wouldn't have ever wanted to be part of, but I found a strange club of people who share this experience. And this statement is one that we all, I think, feel very deeply. Thanks.
Are there any questions for Joy?
Yes.
How often does this group meet?
Oh, it's once a week. And that was another reason I started a group, because most of the groups are once a month. So it's once a week. Where does the group meet? And when, and all the details. Yes, thank you, Gary. Once a week at Naropa Community Counseling, Monday evenings at 5:30. It's an hour and a half. It's free. It is drop-in, which is kind of a big, bold step, but our thinking was we wanted it to be as barrier-free as possible. And there are so many things that are so overwhelming and hard. Like sometimes just getting your clothes on and taking a shower and driving a car can be really hard. So we just wanted to make it if they can get there, they can be there, and we'll figure it out. Anybody else? Okay.